Here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Min Shepard, and I'm the Director of Content Strategy here at One North. And what I'm about to say next might be a little bit of a confession. I have been robbing myself of the experience opportunity of doing math. That's right. I use AI to do math, and even if you don't, which I don't actually think you should, because I recently just found out that AI is even worse at math than I am. I'm sure you are using it to do things such as brainstorm ideas, spin up drafts, and conduct research. Basically, all these tasks that help us speed things up. And I am not here today to tell you that you should stop, but I am here to tell you that something is quietly breaking, and we're the only ones who can fix it. The title of my talk today is The Integrity of Input. And here is the short version of what I'm arguing. If we remove human judgment from content systems, we don't gain efficiency. We create risk. Let me show you what I mean. The thing about AI that most people gloss over is that even though it's not naturally deceptive and it doesn't have a plan to mislead you, it does have something arguably worse, which is a complete indifference to the truth. Philosopher Harry G. Frankfurt has a helpful distinction here. He separates lying, which is knowing the truth and choosing to hide it, from bullshitting, which is just talking without caring whether or not what you're saying is true. So by this definition, I think we could all agree that AI is an unavoidable, purely structural bullshitter. No offense to the machines. And here's the thing that should make us all uncomfortable. That indifference that I was talking about has consequences, whether AI is talking to you or about you. Today, I've brought an example of AI doing both, in which someone sets up a model to assess his face through an ugly filter.
So your forehead looks really stretched out and your chin kind of gets wide and narrow at the same time. It's like a total mismatch.
And it's ugly?
But, yeah, exactly. It's kind of unsettling, but in a funny way. I think it just exaggerates all your features so much that it looks super off.
Oh, I actually forgot to even turn it on, so...
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, it might just be the lighting or something, but honestly, it still looks pretty odd even without it.
What?
If you want, you can try turning it on again or just skip it.
No, this is just how I look.
Notice how the AI just kind of keeps going and continues to be unhelpful, even after the man tells him that he forgot to turn the filter on. With documented experiments like this, it is no surprise that of the 67% of people who use AI to find information, only 76% of them still question whether or not the answers they're getting back are accurate. Not only is there a 6-7 joke in here somewhere, we've also built a massive habitual infrastructure-led dependency on a technology that most of its users don't entirely trust. AI is extraordinary at things. It can crawl content, it can synthesize data, and it can generate at a pace that no human can match. But what it cannot do, not now, not in any version shipping today, is call bullshit. Now, the optimistic take here is that most of those inaccuracies, pretty low stakes. Who cares if an LLM misattributes a date or gets some song lyrics wrong? Listen, like most of you, I went to high school in the late 1900s with absolutely no way of looking up song lyrics. So I know what it's like to sing a song wrong in front of a bunch of other teens. Mortifying in the moment, but survivable. But that's not the only place AI is being deployed. It's in health information, safety protocols, financial guidance, products that have impacts on people's well-being in ways that are real, concrete, and sometimes irreversible. Google classifies this type of content as your money or your life content. and AI has no skin in the game because it has neither. Let me get more specific. Let's say a national biopharmaceutical company has a patient assistance program to help people afford their medications. Previously, eligibility was limited to certain states, but recently, regulations have changed and more states have been added. But let's also say that this company laid off 75% of its content team. So those program updates don't actually make it onto the website. So now we have a user in one of these newly added states who finds out they need a medication from this company, and they don't know how they're going to pay for it. They turn to AI to seek financial aid. And then the AI comes back and tells them, you're not eligible. So that patient stops looking. Nobody lied. Nobody intended any harm. The AI actually did exactly what it was built to do. But a real person was still failed by a process that no longer had a human in the loop. The best case scenario here is that the patient shells out what they could have saved. And the worst case scenario is that patient goes without their meds. This is what we call knowledge decay, and it's happening at scale across industries. When we're removed from content systems, when nobody is maintaining, verifying, questioning, outdated content enters AI systems. Those systems build on those flawed inputs, and then those outputs reinforce future errors. The bedrock of truth begins to crumble, and the snake, as you can see, starts eating its own tail. Or more specifically, AI starts eating its own brain. This is not a technology problem. This is a governance problem, and content professionals are on the front line. Michael Ian Tosca, a career content platform and knowledge engineer, calls us the human firewall, and I really love that because that's what we are. We take ownership over that your money or your life content. We set standards for accuracy, timeliness, and sourcing, and we build systems that make context visible, not optional. This is not supplemental work. This is load-bearing work, and here's what it looks like in practice. Running regular audits of your content, because if your source material is stale, the model's intelligence is irrelevant. Defining content lifecycle policies, not just when do we publish, but when do we review and when do we retire. Leveraging real-world change to validate outputs, because we know when something has shifted. The models don't. And perhaps most importantly, escalating uncertainty instead of glossing over it. AI is always going to give you an answer. We're the ones that know that sometimes that honest answer might just be, I don't know yet. So here's what I want to leave you with. When organizations eliminate that human layer, they think they're gaining efficiency, but what they're actually doing is transferring risk onto their users. And those are the people who trusted them to get it right. Only humans can detect when something feels wrong. Only humans can navigate nuance, weigh intent, and consider consequences. And only humans can be held accountable when trust is broken. And when that trust is broken in health information, safety information, legal guidance, and financial guidance, the cost is more than just an embarrassing tweet. It's real damage to real people. Michael Ian Tosca said it better than I ever could when he said, "We are building machines that learn from us and then firing the humans who know and validate how the world actually works." I would take this a step further and say that we're firing the humans who can care about other humans. And that's the lens that should make all of us a little concerned, because that's not a hypothetical. It's happening because care is often that first budget line that gets cut, unfortunately. Which brings me to my final layer before I wrap up, which is emotional truth. Up until now, I've only been talking about factual truth. Is the information accurate? Is it timely? Is it correctly sourced? But emotional truth matters enormously in brand communications because that's your authenticity, your clarity, your transparency. Those things that make your audience trust not just the information, but the voice behind it. AI has no stake in emotional truth. Sure, it can approximate the style of authenticity, and if you train it well enough, it might even be able to tell you when you've gotten it wrong. But it's got no real lived experience or values that it has not borrowed from somebody else's data, and it has no consequences for missing the mark. Your brand story is yours. Do you really want to risk an algorithm telling it and getting it wrong? I'm going to close with this, a quote from my work wife, Kathy Binkley, who you heard from yesterday. If you're not proactively shaping your brand experience, the machines will do it for you, and you may not like what they say. We are at an inflection point where content is inevitably going to be layered into, or AI is going to inevitably be layered into every content system. So the question becomes, who's responsible for what comes out? The answer, if we want things to go well for ourselves and for each other, has to be us. Thank you.